Alright, forming the next step, children, would be here about the F1 generation. F1 generation means, remember, first filial generation. First filial means the first children born to these parents. So how are you going to form the first children born of these parents? You have to fuse them or fertilize them like this, giving priority to the dominant, right? Capital T to be written first, followed by the small t. Again, I'll remind you here, if you write small t followed by capital, children, you go wrong. So don't adopt this method. I've already told you, capital to be written first, followed by small. Now what you have to write is the phenotype and the genotype of these children that are born. Now let us also try to write down about their homo or heterozygous condition. What were the parents' children? Parents, double T, these were homozygous tall, because both were double T capital. Here they are again homozygous dwarf. So exactly contrasting feature, tall parents to opposed to the dwarf parents. But the children born, look at them. What is the condition? They are heterozygous and capital followed by small. So what will be the condition, children? Yes, they will be tall. Because I told you the tallness, even if present in half of the 50%, it will exhibit because it's a tall allele, right? And this will not express, that is why it is called as recessive or hidden. So what is a physical appearance? Type, phenotype means type of physical appearance. And yes, the answer would be that these are all plants are heterozygous tall. Alright. Then what will be the genotype? All children born, that is all plants, would be 100% capital T followed by small t. There is no other possibility. This is half of your work, children. This F1 generation has been done. See, that was your question, to find out the ratio of phenotype and genotype in F1 and F2 generations. So F1 you have done. Once again we'll revise this. P1 generation, we opted as two parents, capital versus the small, that is the dwarf parents. But the condition, they were homozygous dominant and this was homozygous recessive. Gametes, I told you how to form, children. Never forget, bring the double to single condition and close it in a circle so that you know these are gametes. Similarly here, double brought to single and then closed in circle. The F1 generation or the first filial generation, you have to fuse them or hybridize them, giving priority to the capital gene, capital followed by small. Then I had already told you not to follow this method, this would be wrong. Alright. Then determining the phenotype of this type of children, that this type of progeny that is obtained, all the plants are heterozygous tall. Why? Because the tall gene is exhibiting the phenotype. Whereas genotype or genetic makeup would be nothing other than capital T followed by small t. Now, the second part of your question. You are moving to P2 generation. Now, what is P2? P2 means second parental generation. Now, children, you have to assume that you're going to self-cross these children. That is, they're going to fuse or fertilize against each other. So, what will it be? Capital T, small t crosses capital T and small t. That means if the children are married amongst themselves or crossed amongst themselves, then what would be the F2 generation? That's what's your study. Once again, here the next step is gamete formation, that I had already told you. The next step is gamete formation. Now in this case, children, you are going to make a square. This we call as a Punnett square. You can use a scale and a pencil to that work. I am doing it in a rough hand, but you can be more neat. So this is a Punnett square. Why called Punnett square? Because this is after the name of the scientist who determined this method. Now let us form the gametes. I told you, you have to separate it, or here what you did, you brought it to half. But here you are seeing the difference that both are different, capital and small. So how to bring it to half is just segregate. This is what also depicts the law of segregation by Mendel, that gametes, they're going to segregate. Pick up this combination from one progeny. On one axis, capital followed by small, you are segregating. Similarly, pick up the other gamete combination and bring it on the other axis in the same order. If you're writing capital first, small later, here also capital first and small later. Alright, and like a game, children, just fill up this box. Let us see. One T comes down over here and this T also comes down, so this becomes both capital. Coming to this box, one T from here, but remember this T is a small and will be written later, whereas this capital comes before, so it will be given a priority. Again, if you write like this, T small followed by capital, you go wrong. So don't do this, right? Come to this box here, capital T first written by small. Again, in the same line of rule. And here, both are small, one here comes again small. Now let us see what would be the condition observed by such children born to the parents. Both are capital, that means that's a homozygous, and both are dominant. So what will be this plant? Guess it? Tall or dwarf? Yes, you're right. This would be tall. Similarly, capital followed by small. What would be the phenotype, observation over this plant? Capital is tallness and small is dwarfness. So who will exhibit? Yes, you're right. This again would be tall. Just like this, capital followed by small, because dominant is exhibiting, again tall but heterozygous. Remember, these two are tall but they are heterozygous, whereas this was tall but homozygous dominant. What about this? Small double T, this will be the only dwarf plant because it is recessive. Alright, now coming to the phenotype and genotype of F2 generation. Remember, now you are at F2 generation. F2 means second filial generation, or the second progeny born to these parents. So what will be the phenotype, children? That means the physical appearance. Count it. 3 are tall and 1 is dwarf. So it will be 3:1. Right? 3 means these are tall and 1 is dwarf. Alright? Then what will be the genotype of such a combination? Genotype means how many types of gene combinations have been formed. See, let us see. One was both capitals. Let's write it. It is both capitals. The second is one capital followed by small. Alright. Third is again one capital followed by small. And the last is both are small. So do you see there are 3 combinations broadly formed? It is 1, both capital, is 2, 2. You can see these are both the same, capital and small, what you call heterozygous combination, is 2, 1 single, which is homozygous but recessive. And that's your complete answer, children. Once again, moving to the P2 generation. How did you pick up these parents? From the previous F1 generation, assuming that they are mature and you're interbreeding them. So I told you, now at the time of gamete formation, form the Punnett square and segregate the gametes. Capital followed by small on one axis and the other parent on this axis, capital followed by small. And now filling the boxes in the order of capital first written by small. So this becomes both capital for tall, capital and small. Remember, this method of small being written first was wrong. So capital and small, again tall. Here also capital followed by small, again tall. And here coming to the only 2, dwarf together or the recessive together means the dwarf. Phenotype generation we did as 3:1, which will always be true for a monohybrid cross. We'll do it by another example just now. And genotype combination, again it came as to 1:2:1, because 1 was one combination single, 2 is this, and this is another 1. So that's what is the question solved very clearly, which had asked about the phenotype and genotype ratios in F1 and F2 generation. So you've done F1 generation, written it, the phenotype and genotype, and then you've done F2 generation, writing the phenotype and genotype. This is very simple, children, and for any number of monohybrid crosses all over the world, please adopt this method only, which is standard method, and learn these two tables by heart. They will always help you. Let us pick up another example from the table that we are here. Anyone, let's see, we'll pick up, let's say, earlobe. For example, free versus attached, right? Let's say free versus attached into the hereditary traits for humans. Now, the first thing, let me write the question first. This is our example number 2, right? A cross was made between a man with free-lobed ears who married a woman with attached earlobes. Alright, so this is what we are fulfilling. This question we are picking up. Free, which is a dominant trait, versus attached, which is, now this could be either of them. This could be a male, this could be female, or this could be a male or a female. You know that the gender wise you don't have to get moved. I am just for the sake of practice picking any of them. So question goes, draw a Punnett square to show phenotype and genotype ratios of F1 and F2 generations. Alright, so let us begin. On the same note of working, first let us choose our alphabet. What will be dominant or a capital and what will be small? Earlobe, I told you, free is dominant. So what will be our first alphabet, which will be capital, will be F, right? You cannot take A capital because this is recessive. And I told you, children, both the alphabets will be same. So free versus attached. And you will pick up F as the capital, free. This is homozygous, free earlobes. Being crossed to attached. But you cannot take A. Why A you cannot take? Because I told you both the alphabets, they have to be same. So you will just take small f. And what do they depict? Homozygous attached ear lobes. Alright. Now this I told you would be P1 generation like the previous, our first parents. Second step as usual, gametes formation, bring it to half, right? How would you make it? Single F and single small f. So third step, F1 generation. This time we'll go faster because obviously we have picked up the rules already. And here, how to combine this? Giving priority to the capital followed by small. So capital F followed by small f. But what would be the phenotype and genotype as asked in the question? Phenotype and genotype. Right? So phenotype is physical appearance you're talking of. What will be such children born to such parents? They will be, yes, you're right, they will be heterozygous, but they will be all having free earlobes because this is capital. So all children born are heterozygous with free earlobes. Alright, coming to genotype, 100% F capital followed by small because there is no other possibility. Moving further, just on the same line as I did last time. So P2 generation, assuming that such children are going to be intercrossed, right? So capital F, small f into capital and small f. Next step, like the previous, gamete formation. And for this, yes, now you have to make a Punnett square. Please do it very neatly, children. And now, as according the law of segregation, right, here you will break the gametes, capital and small, one of the parents broken. Here also segregate these genes of the other parent, capital followed by small, right? Now combine them, both capital, here capital first, small later, here this capital followed by small f, and here both small. Now the last step of this question, the phenotype and genotype. So phenotype, children, both capital children means free lobed. Here also one dominant, one recessive, but yes, this will be free lobed. The child would be heterozygous, right? But it will be free earlobed. Here also heterozygous but free earlobed. But this was homozygous and free lobed. But what about this? This will be the only one with attached earlobes. Let us see the phenotype. Once again, physical appearance, you're talking in a ratio. So again, it will be 3:1. Why 3? Count it. 1, 2 and 3. They are free earlobed. And the only one which is with attached earlobes. Alright. And herein, talking about the genotype, once again, this is the only capital, double. Then 2 are same, capital followed by small, and the last is single. So once again, 1:2:1, because 1 was homozygous dominant, 2 are heterozygous conditions, whereas 3 are the last one is homozygous recessive. So did you notice, children, like the previous one, here also phenotype in F2 generation was 3:1 and the genotype was 1:2:1. And here also the phenotype becomes 3:1 when it comes to the F2 generation, and the genotype becomes 1:2:1. So no matter any number of crosses that we do, but the ratios never change. Herein I am giving you a question to practice. Example 3. Try doing it yourself. Please write down. This would be the last for today, children. Let us take a cross from our table 1 of our notes. Last time we did table 1, right? Sorry, table number 2. The dimpled cheek is dominant over normal. So please write down. Now let's change the gender over here. A woman with dimpled cheek marries a man with normal cheek. Draw a Punnett square to show phenotype and genotype ratios of F1 and F2 generations. Try doing it yourself, but yes, I'll be posting the answer for this after some 10-15 minutes, so at least you can tally whether you're right or wrong. Now children, you should be able to understand the terms better. Before we close down, let us quickly see. Last time, if anything was troubling you in the terminologies, for example, now you understand what is genotype, the genetic makeup. You understand what is phenotype or the physical appearance of any organism. Then you talk about homozygous and heterozygous conditions, which you have seen today in a much better way. Monohybrid cross we did today, contrasting one feature at a time. Dihybrid we'll do next time. F1 and F2 generations you have done. First filial generation or the children born, and the second filial generation for the second lot of children. Then next time we'll be talking about the dihybrid cross. Children, please revise this. I'm putting up these laws. You'll be understanding better. So 1, 2, 3, 4 pages I'm posting just now. You will please write down in your registers, but make sure you have to learn these 2 tables by heart. And after some time I'm posting the answer for this third practice question. And next time we'll be starting with dihybrid cross. Thank you.